problem.
Steve, so you've done some voiceover work in video games and stuff before?
Yeah.
Weird, obscure parts and stuff.
Yeah.
Is this your first animated project?
Yeah, and you know, the video games, all I did was like choke number 5 or like choking 7, like you know, like how different can you choke? You know, it was that stuff. So like, you know, coming into this, you know, I took it pretty serious because, you know, I knew what you guys had, and also, you know, working with Andrea, working with you guys, like, it was really great. And this is the first animated thing, and you know, there's a lot that's different. You know, you have to kind of play a lot more, and because of the schedule of maybe sometimes not getting to work with the actors directly, and also the the ADR sessions, it's a whole different ballgame. I'm still kind of wrapping my head around it. So, yeah.
What did you think about watching the fans, watching the show with fans?
Horrifying. I'm really sorry, but it was horrifying. But,
Yeah!
We're terrifying.
thanks, Ross.
For the record, you're awesome.
It says Mako asks, and I'm not sure if this is David Faustino wrote this question or if the character Mako has a Tumblr or something. Mako asks, do you have a favorite line of PJs/Bolins?
That's tough. I mean, I have one that always sticks in my mind. I've brought it up before, but because I really hope I'm not wrong about this. But didn't the whole "I want to be on your back" thing was like he just said that, right? Was that one in the very first when he's on Naga and he's like, "I want to be on your back."
So, if you guys, Steve said the phrase ADR, it's like I think it's additional dialogue recording, and some people think it stands for other things, but it's, we record the dialogue first, and then many times we have to go redo a line, or we rewrite it, or it wasn't clear, or we need a different take or something. And most of it is like choke number 6, it's like a lot of, you heard Juan, it's like, he's being hit by things, we have to add that stuff later. PJ, always improvising. In episode 103, he gets picked up by Naga, and there's a rhythm to her gallop, and he, instead of just like, he's like, I want to be on your back. It's not really clear, you have to really listen for it, but yeah, that's a good one.
It makes me laugh so hard. But that's a good example of pretty much anything that PJ does. Just kills me.
So, PJ, same question. Mako asks, do you have a favorite line of Janet/Doris?
Yes. Yes, I do. I have an answer for you.
Lying time.
Anytime I'm lying to you right now. The answer is no. There's one scene where we do. I think it's the first season where Bolin usually always gets the last line because there's something that his brain just keeps coming out. But there was one time where we're somewhere and you go, no, someone's around us, we're together, and then I think that means like we're together. And I'm like, so yeah, we're together, and then you kind of look at me, and then I go, no, I didn't mean to imply that we were together. I'm like, no, you implied it. And I'm like so mortified by that, I'm actually mortified to silence. I think it's my favorite one. No, you implied it. And I love you too.
So, love you too, Steve. And Steve, as a viewer, now that you've seen yourself as an animated character, is it easier to separate your persona, yourself, from the character, from animation, or watching yourself in live action? Like, are you ever able to watch that character as if it's not you, or your ego is just too tight? Like, boom.
I did notice you were very emotional down there, by the way. You were very emotional down there. Like, you were like, I don't want to go down and watch it, I can't do it.
Yeah, it might take like a second viewing for me to separate myself from it, but I don't know, I can't even watch Walking Dead with other people, let alone watch a thing where I'm not as experienced in with 1,000 people. That's horrifying, but...
You sound like a pro, man.
Thank you, that's right. But it was cool. I mean, it's cool to see the interaction and the fans, and also the animation is so beautiful, and that carrot was so cute.
Yeah. There's a little radish on his head.
Yeah.
Are we allowed to ask you guys questions about some of the stuff that we just saw?
About a minute. You can ask real quick.
Well, I'm so taken with all the spirits that we just saw, and I'm just wondering if you can give us any background and how some of those inceptions.
Well, I mean, obviously, it was very inspired by Spirited Away, and we had Yvonne Freeman is an amazing artist, and she was like an artist fellow. Nickelodeon has this artist fellowship, and she was assigned to our show. And I just said, draw a bunch of spirits. And so she did the initial concepts for most of those, and then designers at Studio Mir and Christy Sang, our in-house designer, they all just did some really work, and I did some.
Both Christy and Evelyn did Korra fan art before they were hired for the show. It goes somewhere.
So, with our remaining time, we want to take you guys through, we've never done this before, from beginning to end, how we make the show.
Ooh, this is interesting.
We love coming to these talks because we see things that we never see otherwise. So we always try to muscle our way in because we know we're going to learn a bunch of stuff too.
And it's a clip from the 10th episode in the season, so you haven't even seen this yet. You've seen a little bit if you've seen the trailer, the book 2 trailer. So Joaquin and I are going to walk you through this, and actors will chime in. Obviously, everything starts with the writing. And on this season, there's Mike, there's Tim Hedrick, and Josh Hamilton, who were writers on Avatar. They're veterans of this world, and me as well, that worked with them on writing. Everything starts with just the writers sitting in the room, talking about ideas, and we break stories, and we have little like post-it notes and index cards kind of pinned up to the wall.
From my perspective, they look like crazy people. There's like, it looks like crazy scribblings on the wall when I walk in there.
And then we turn that into a premise, which is about our premises are pretty long. It's supposed to be about 5 pages, so it's about 5 pages. And then that gets turned into an outline. And it kind of breaks down each sequence, what's going to happen. There might be little snippets of like rough dialogue, which is kind of the idea in there. So this short, you can see how this short little, snippet will turn into this whole sequence. Then that outline gets turned into a script, which goes through many drafts. There's a table draft, a first draft. I think the first draft comes after the table draft, which is weird. Maybe it's the other way around. There's a record draft, animatic draft. There's just all these drafts.
And just to go back to the premise real quick, that's something that like the director will look at and just start being able to formulate sort of what their ideas are going to be for the show. So it really helps in sort of getting the ideas down early.
So you can see that now the final dialogue is plugged in here, and then you have the action direction in between, and it tells you the location, time of day, and those numbers on the side are that's what line number that is for the show. There's little direction for how we want them to read it, like yelling after her, Janora, be careful, because we're imagining she's going to be further away, that kind of stuff. And then from there, the next thing we do is the dialogue recording. So nothing's been drawn for the episode usually at this point, and that's when we bring in our great cast. And when we can, we bring them in together. But the luxury of doing voiceover work is, you can kind of create the illusion that these characters are speaking to each other. A lot of times they're not even recorded in the same week, or even in the same city. And in the scene that you're going to see, we've got the great Kiernan Shipka, who plays Janora, who's also on Mad Men. And we have Janet Varney. And Dee Bradley Baker in this particular scene. Dee, man of 1,000 voices. He's for years done all our animal characters. He also played Tarlock. Which is so weird because he's like the nicest guy in the world. But man, did he play a sleazy politician. So in this scene, he does a lot of our expert voices. And then you're going to hear it. You're going to hear their And then we take that script and the production staff breaks it down. They read through the script and they're like, we've never seen this location before. We need to design that. You know, we haven't seen these scripts before. Those need to be designed. Do we need changes to the main characters? Do we have any props that they're interacting with? Are there special effects that we need to design? So all of that stuff gets designed. In this case, it's a pretty simple little sequence we chose, but you'll see how complicated that is. So we have a stock design of Korra. It means we've done it in the past, so we can just reuse it. Stock design of Janora. Although for book 2, we made her a little bit taller.
Watch it. Yeah.
A little bit of time had passed. And then there's a spirit just passes by for one shot. That thing has to be designed. It's got to go through approval, cleanup. And then this was a first pass from our designer, Christy Sang, who we mentioned earlier. She turns in rough. I'm the art director on the show, so I take it. In this case, I gave some notes on it. I said, it's looking a little too cartoony. I wanted it to be a bit more of like a realistic, anatomical, butterfly character, but a little bit like kind of spirit. So she took this other pass, and this thing starts as a flower and then turns into this butterfly. So we have to design the before and after. And then here you can see the cleanup. So then she goes in and does really nice clean lines so that this model can be easily colored.
And again, this is for a character that's going to be on one scene. Yeah, and it's really time consuming.
And you've got to describe the pattern to the animators, keep everything consistent from different views. It's great, it's a ton of work.